All right, so we set this meeting up to just talk about how to use loan partner ones properly in this market. You guys are thinking about taking one on and splitting it, right?
We are, yes.
Yeah, tell me why you're thinking about doing that.
We want to leverage our time a little more and be more intentional with our sales calls and try to just double up on the greatness tracker activity.
Yep. Um, so those are the right reasons. So the way the mortgage team has evolved, at least here at Summit, is you get a loan officer, and they're in the business and they're kind of doing it all, being all things to all people, answering the phone, being super responsive, being super charming, catering to people, and they usually can get to around 4 or 5 loans a month, which is about 50 or 60 loans a year, and they're just kind of full. They're working a lot of hours and they can kind of build towards burnout. And so for a team, not usually, the team, the first hire should be a loan partner one. And here's why. Well, let me back up. When people get a loan partner one too soon, they don't develop the skills they need to develop, and they don't own the business. They they don't develop the skills they need to develop. The skills you got to develop are sales ability, right?
Yep.
Managing expectations, which means not over promising. It cracks me up in this business. There's a realtor on the other end, and you can feel their energy and their pressure. They're like, well, how much longer is it going to take? And you're like, well, I should know tomorrow. And you know damn well you ain't going to know tomorrow. But you say it just to kind of appease them. And really, at that moment, you got to take a breath and then double how long it'll take.
Yeah.
Right? You think it's going to take you 2 days, it's going to say it's going to be 3 or 4 days. But I will call you and update you. And they'll be like, well, gosh, why is it taking so long? Well, I understand your frustration, so you agree with them. I agree that seems like a long time. First thing you got to do is agree with them. I agree that seems like a long time, because then they will calm down instead of arguing about whether that's a long time or not. Agree with them.
Yeah.
But it's November, Thanksgiving's coming up, everybody's taking time off. Things are just going to take longer through the holidays. So your ability to develop those skills, and you have them, John, I'm
Yep.
recording this, is super important. And if you have a loan partner one, they don't have those skills, number one. They don't want to have those skills, number two. And you haven't developed them. So you shouldn't have access to a loan partner one until you're doing 50 or 60 loans a year. Okay, so then the first hire is a loan partner one, and the idea is the cost of a loan partner one is, 1 loan a month, let's say, more or less.
Mhm.
And if someone's going to work 40 hours a week, 160, 170 hours a month, and you manage them right, they should be able to help you do at least one more loan a month. And what we found is that they could help you do probably 4 more loans a month, maybe 5. And that more than pays for their bill and helps you make more money. So top 3 jobs are they help follow up on leads, they make sure your marketing goes out, and then they run your calendar, which means they run around, make sure you're supposed to do what you're doing what you said you were going to do. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you today is how to use a loan partner one properly, and especially when it comes to staying connected to the realtor and the borrower. Staying connected to the realtor and the borrower. And the reason we decided to record this, John, and I'm asking you to tell me if I remember accurately. We were talking about whether you might want to share a loan partner one, and it's a tough decision right now going into the winter months. It's an expense, all those things. And I think what you said was, gosh, I'm involved more with the borrowers now, and
Right.
that's making it go better with my realtors. Yeah,
Right. And the conversion.
well, tell me more about that. Tell me why you're a little bit hesitant.
So my backstory, I was working with a really big group. They were doing about 150 million a year. And that process, I learned some really bad habits from it. And the bad habit was when it came to my loan partner one, I let them uh, roll with their responsibilities, and I just focused on originating and vision. And the problem that I learned, and the problem that I learned through that process is I learned it too late. By the time I learned, I had my ratio from my closing ratio on leads to pre-approval to contract really suffered for a couple of months. And And then when I joined Summit and I came with you guys, you were explaining to me about the LP1s and hey, you've got to own the process, be close to the money, and your relationship is in the people that you talk to. And so when I started doing that, my funny thing happened. My closing ratio started doing better. I started enjoying talking to my clients because I got to know them better, learn their story, and I was actually more involved with the leads itself, which really translated into a better relationship with my agents because now they understood that I was involved, that I had the right answers to the questions. I knew who that person was and their story. And so fast forward today, I was looking at the closing ratios, and I went from it was bad. I had like from pre-approval to contract, I suffered pretty big. It was like I think I was right at a 12% conversion ratio. And then fast forward
Of your pre-approvals to close.
to contracts. Yeah. Yeah. I was getting the leads, getting the quantity, but that closing ratio, I was losing them because I had no relationship.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah, that's the big thing I've been working on with you and with everybody else is, some bad habits came from the previous market. And that previous market created distance in our referral partner relationships and even our client relationships. And you know, that it's okay that happened, but not changing to the new market is not okay, right? Being responsive to change is really the key to success. So being responsive to change is the key to success. So the market has changed and we got to get more in relationship, not less. And I think it's okay to use some bling and some social media for branding and for marketing purposes to get leads um, jointly with our realtor partners. But once we have the lead, I think that we can't send them to an app, send them to a website, tell them to upload all their own stuff, ignore them, and then expect them to use us. I just don't think we can do that. And I think a lot of us have done that, right? So if you're listening to this, this is a tangent, but we're at our branch, our big movement this next year is to get back to 90% of our borrower meetings being in person as a branch. So we have 30 loan officers and we want 90% of all borrower consultations to be in person. The other 10% can be by Zoom. Um, and that's a big shift from the previous market. But to focus on leads, some expectations we have is about 35% of all of our leads will go to pre-approval, and at least half of those, probably more like 2/3 of those, will go to close. So if we get 100 leads, we expect 35 or 40 pre-approvals, and we expect 22 to 25% go to close. And those numbers have drifted for a lot of reasons. People want to blame the market. People are shopping more. Yes. How do you make people shop you less? My only answer is relationship. Cool. So we're talking about bringing this loan partner one on and rebuilding your team. And your concern was, wow, I'm super engaged right now, and I'm worried about my conversion rate going back down.
right, right.
So I just wanted to go record this because I have some simple steps. I have some simple steps. Actually, I want to go grab something. I have some simple steps, and I have how to convert leads. You guys give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab it. One of the things I'll teach you guys, if you're listening to this, is whatever is most important currently, you got to put it in the workspace of everybody on your team because that shows them what's most important to you right now, and whatever they'll focus on, they'll get better at. So what's most important to us right now is that every lead comes in gets treated like gold, and the best way to convert leads is speed to lead. So give me 1 second. Rebecca's going to grab it and bring it
Okay.
back in, but I can memorize it. So the most conversion is to have more of your leads convert to pre-approval, guys. Step number one is speed to lead, right? So how quickly you respond to the lead, either by answering the phone or by calling them back within 5 minutes. So if you're a loan officer and you're doing 50 loans a year, you're a busy person. And so that's what a loan partner one helps you with. So speed to lead. Second, the second most important thing to high conversion rate is meet them in person quickly. So I want them to be offered a meeting the same day and the next day. So by that, I mean, I can meet you today at 4, or I can meet you tomorrow at 3. and offer it to them. It doesn't mean they will take it, but your ability to convince them to meet you quickly will dramatically increase your conversion rate. The third most important thing to having a high conversion rate is you got to spend about an hour with them when you do your consultation. People think that's crazy, but I'm telling you that when you spend an hour with them and you do a professional presentation, you're going to get to know them and they're going to get to know you. Um, and so a lot of us got to rework on our professional presentation. And then the last key to conversion rate is follow up, follow up, follow up. So that means, what do you do to follow up after the professional presentation? And that's a whole another recording. But for loan partner one, thank you, Becca. It looks like this. And you can get it from emailing me at jreed@summitfunding.net. You can get that, or you can call me on my cell phone, 916-715-8102. So going back to it now, we're going to backtrack to a loan partner one. When you bring on a new loan partner one, how to do it. So the first thing you got to do is call all leads yourself every day. People get confused by what I mean by that. I don't mean that you got to do all the work, but you have to talk to the client. So when I get a lead, if I answer the phone and it's a lead, or if I call them back, I'll do a quick role play with you, John, and I want you to make sure you remember this. I'll say, so I answer the phone, you're a borrower, okay? I say, hey, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim.
No, I'm role playing. You called me. Hey, this is
Oh.
Jim.
Hey, Jim. My name's John. I was calling you today about a pre-approval.
Well, so who referred you?
Elisa, she mentioned that you were the main guy to call for my
Awesome.
for my mortgage.
That's awesome. I've been working with Elisa for quite a while, and you're in good hands with her. But I got to tell you, I'm actually walking into a meeting, and so if it's okay, what I'd like to do is explain the process about getting pre-approved, and I would like to maybe answer any quick questions that you have. Would that be okay?
Yes, it would.
Well, so here's the process. I'm going to have Rebecca call you. She's my loan partner. Her job is to schedule us time in person to gather a little bit of your information so that I'm ready for the meeting. So she'll ask you some birthdays and things like that and where you work. And then she'll give you a list of documents to either bring to our meeting in person or maybe to upload. I prefer you just bring them in person. It's a lot more secure that way for you. And we take your privacy as a big deal at our company and keeping all your information protected. And so at that meeting, you're gonna leave that meeting pre-approved, or if there's some kind of a problem, you'll leave that in getting pre-approved. You'll leave that meeting with a written plan of what you got to do to get pre-approved. And so that's the process. Now, real quick, I'm going to ask you a question and then give you a chance to ask me some. Are you looking at making an offer on a house today?
Yes, yeah, we found a property.
Ah, you do. And so that's super important. So then the next step is going to be changed a little bit. I'm gonna have Rebecca call you right away, and I have appointments available today, and she has my calendar. So if not today, then tomorrow morning we're going to need to meet, so we can get you a pre-approval letter, not a pre-qualification letter. There's a big difference. To be competitive, pre-qual letter just means that you talk to a lender and based on what you said, they think you can get a loan. What we like to do is get you pre-approved so you can compete. And since you said you're making an offer, if it's all right, I need you to text me the price and the property address so that I can get back to your agent real quick. So what I'm going to do is end this and have Rebecca call you and schedule you a meeting for today so I can go in more detail on your situation. Would that be okay?
Yes, it would.
Okay, great. So curveball he threw me was he wants to make an offer today. It's not normal.
Yeah.
Out of 10 leads, John, how many people call you and want to make an offer that day?
Like one.
Okay. So let's rewind and go to the no answer. You ready, John?
Okay, got it. Yes, I'm
Sweet.
with
Are you looking to make offers on today?
No.
Awesome. So then what other questions do you have before I let you go?
No other questions. We're good.
No other questions right now?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Rebecca will call you in the next 20 minutes and she'll offer you an appointment and I'll see you then.
Cool.
So now I'm gonna screenshot your incoming call phone number. I'm gonna go into my phone. I'm gonna open up that number. I'm gonna screenshot it and text it to Rebecca. And then I'm gonna say, hey Rebecca, new lead from Julianne or whatever you said the agent's name. I told him you'd offer an appointment today or the next day. Now listen, guys, Rebecca knows all of this. But every time I delegate to her, I tell her everything over and over and over again. I don't just say, here's a lead, do your thing. I'll say, hey, make sure you offer him an appointment today or the next day, and then make sure you update the agent, and then give me a text update after you have. So every single time I send Rebecca a lead, and she's been with me for 4.5 years, I tell her exactly what to do, which she totally already knows what to do. And the reason I do that is I found over years of working in teams is slowly your staff will skip steps and augment or change your process based on what they think's best. So that's a super important detail I just gave you guys. Every time I delegate to her, I ask her to get a pen and write it down. I ask her to update me after she did it, and I tell her the most important parts of what I just delegated. So let's say that so that's the role play. So now let's, John, say I got a text message from you and you said, hey, I got your name and number from Roy and I need to get pre-approved. I would text you back, hey, great, I'm in a meeting. I'm going to have my loan partner call you. And I would text the thing to Rebecca and have her get going. Let's say I really was in a meeting, right? And have her get going on the lead. Or let's say the lead came in by email and Rebecca checks my email and got the lead. Okay, so let's say I didn't talk to him at initial contact, which will happen if you work with a loan partner, because eventually they'll be checking your email and eventually your realtors will know and trust that position and maybe refer them directly to her. So every day at 4:00, Rebecca sends me a text. And on the text, it simply says your name, your phone number, the status of you as a lead, and the realtor's name and phone number that referred you. Every day I get that text. So say John Tober 555-1212, left message, referred by Roy Merlino 595-7500, which is actually his number. So at 4:00, I'll get a text for all my leads for the day. And I will call them all again before I quit that night. So let's say during the role play, I talked to you and then had Rebecca to do her thing, my loan partner one, do her thing with you. Later on that evening, I call you again, ring, ring. Hey, John.
Hey.
Ring. Hey, John, it's Jim Reed with Summit. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm getting ready to wrap up my day. I just wanted to follow up. Did you connect with with Rebecca?
I did, yes. She was great, by the way.
Cool. Do we have an appointment set?
We do.
Awesome. Any questions you have this evening? I just want to make sure I followed up with you and took care of you. Any questions you have this evening?
No, all is great. We're good.
All is great. Cool. All right. I'm going to give Roy, the realtor who referred you, a quick update. Let him know that we took care of you and let him know about your appointment. And this is my cell phone number that I just called you from. Please save it. Just save it as Jim Reed, the lender, in your phone. That way, if you have questions tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, you can call me. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. I click, I hang up, I call Roy. Hey, Roy, ring, ring. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey, Roy, it's Jim Reed with Summit Funding, man. How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Dude, I'm awesome now. Thank you so much for referring Jon Tober to me, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. I talked to him twice today, and Rebecca scheduled him. He's coming in tomorrow, and then I'll be able to give you some updates. Are you guys looking at any houses in particular right now?
Not right now, but we got a scheduled date on Saturday to go look at houses.
Oh, perfect. We'll have them taken care of in plenty of time. Anything special I need to know about this guy?
No, first time buyer. He may need some DPA, but overall, should be squeaky clean.
Yeah. How'd you get the lead?
It was from a old past client of mine.
And all right, that's awesome. Anything else I need to know?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I'm still working for about another 30 minutes tonight. I know it's late, but if you have any other leads you need followed up on, just text them over. Otherwise, I will call you tomorrow after the appointment.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks. Bye. So now I'm updating my realtor at 4 o'clock after 4 o'clock, not at 4 o'clock. I get this text. I'm not time blocked to make these calls. I get this text and I do it when I can before I quit for the day. I call the borrowers again every time, and I call the realtors again every time. So what I've done is in that system is I've delegated 80% of what Rebecca can do as good as me. So any task that she could do 80% as good as me, I gave to her. She can look at the calendar, she can schedule the appointment, she can fill out the IRLA, she can give them a list to bring in, she can do all those things, but she cannot build rapport and make the client feel honored as good as I can.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay. So what put me a little bit at unease on that, the client relationship is that first call. Because normally on the first call, I get the details I need that kind of builds a rapport within the first 10 minutes. But following your process, I see that how it would work, because if I follow up with the client at 4, that's kind of like that call, but it would just move to the end of that day. So
Of that
I think,
day.
yeah. So I think that does work out for like gets me over that uncomfortableness of not making that first call.
Yeah. The other thing is like the definition of service is not, you gotta be careful how I say this. In the mortgage business, the definition of service is not to give the client everything that they want as fast as they want it, because it's inaccurate. Like we're not serving food, we're reading a deal. And the accuracy of our evaluation is so important to us being able to maintain realtor relationships long term. Like if when I'm meeting with a realtor, I'll say, do you want it fast or accurate? And they'll say, well, I want it. Maybe they'll say, I want it fast. I'll say, so if I'm super quick, but it's not accurate, that's what you prefer. Well, no, I want it to be accurate and fast. I get it. So what's the right blend of that is what we're talking about, right? What's the right blend? Like super fast and not accurate, super slow and super accurate, or somewhere in the middle. And they'll be like, oh, somewhere in the middle. I say, okay, I agree. So what's an acceptable time frame? Like you give me a lead today at 3 o'clock. How soon do you want a pre-approval letter? Like right away. Okay. But the borrower hasn't sent me any income documentation. I haven't met with them and they can't meet tonight. Do you still want the pre-approval letter? Probably not. That's why speed the lead to talk to them is important. Updating the agent every time you communicate is important. And then meeting them in person quickly is important. Um, what I think, John, is that when you take a lead call and you ask them all about their employment, you ask them how much money they make, you ask them about their credit, and then you tell them about what payments are, and you tell them it looks like they could buy a house, they don't need you anymore.
Right.
They just you've made them believe that getting a home loan is super easy, which means that it has no value.
The What I was doing in the first call is taking those three top things: budget, sales price, and then funds available. And then I would grab that and then start, I would send them to the website to apply. But I do like your way better. I can see that would be a better process.
I just think that if I treat you like gold, if I'm treating you like gold and I send you to a website and you can't remember my name or my company name, and you go mortgage Sacramento Summit Funding, what's going to pop up is a bunch of lenders, right? And so I don't think I want to do that. And then if I send them the app by our fancy app on our phones, I think that's decent. I think it's decent. But if I have me or my loan partner talk to them over the phone and gather their information and make it easier for them, because they can ask all the questions quickly, I think that's best. And if I can meet them in person, I think that's best. So going back to what this call is today, we're trying to say, how do we use a loan partner one properly? Here's what you don't do. You don't expect your loan partner one to gather all the docs, evaluate them, calculate the income, enter it into the IRLA, go over the credit report, call the borrower to go over the credit and the accuracy, then set the appointment, then have them come in and you just sell the terms. Now, when we have 200 leads a month and we don't have enough time and we're closing 15 or 20 loans a month, could we do it that way?
Yes.
We could. And that may be the best way in that situation. But in this situation where each lead is like, oh my gosh, I need it so much, and I want my borrowers to shop me less, then I got to get them in front of me. I gotta get them in front of me. And if I give them all the information over the phone, why would they ever meet with me? So that's how to use a Loan Partner One properly in the beginning for following up on leads. And then the second part of that is you got to meet with your loan partner every morning for a daily team meeting, and you got to go over leads. You got to have them send you a copy of the lead tracker while they got a copy of the lead tracker in front of them, and you go through the leads, all of the leads. What's going on with this one? What's going on with that one? What's going on with that one? They're supposed to call the lead every day. So like we get a lead from Roy with a name and number. I call him first, and then I give it to Rebecca. She puts it on the lead tracker. She'll call him again that day before she goes home, and they'll be on my 4 o'clock text. Now I know I've left them a message. I know Rebecca left them a message, and they haven't called either one of us back, and it's about 5:15 and I'm driving home. I might try one more time, or I might just call Roy and say, hey, Roy, it's Jim. I got the lead from Jon Tober. I called them this morning. I also had Rebecca call because I was in meetings this afternoon. They haven't called us back. Do we try them again one more time tonight or wait till tomorrow? It was kind of an open house lead. It was kind of gold. I'd probably wait till tomorrow and I'll be like, okay, that sounds great. But thanks for sharing the information with me about how to approach them. I think what I'll do tomorrow is text them. What do you think, Roy? Yeah, that sounds good. Text them, see what happens. So I can get some input from the realtor based on my 4 o'clock text, right? The information on there. I can decide how to proceed in the play, right? Loans are like football season, right? There's a play. You're going to go for a fly route with the wide receiver on the right side. You snap back and they blitz you. That's no longer the play. You have to look around and dump it off. Same thing with leads. There's the play, and then you gotta be able to shift a little bit to increase your conversion, and that's by staying connected to the realtor without having to do all the information gathering, without having to do all the follow-up. So that's how to handle loan partner ones. If you're hiring them in this market, the second thing they do is every single day you have to have your calendar printed out. Do you have your calendar printed out? No, you don't, which is why you need a loan partner one. So you print out your calendar and you live off your calendar, and then they call me and they bug me if I'm in a meeting with you. If I take too long, pretty soon Rebecca's going to knock on my door and go, 5 minutes, you got to go to the next one in 5 minutes. So that helps me stay on my time frame. So I'm making more sales calls. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do every day. And then the last thing they're supposed to do is this. So everybody listening, make sure you write this down. They got to send out an email to my 200 agents that I market to every Friday with my tip of the week. Either a tip on a loan program, it's a tip on the future of interest rates, it's an underwriting guideline that changed, it's a zero down program. I email 200 realtors every Friday. I snail mail, regular old-fashioned United States mail, to all my past clients and realtors at their houses every month. Evidence of success, a short story about how I've helped somebody. So I mail that to all my past clients. My loan partner one does all of that. They write it, they give me options, and they make sure it goes out by my mail house, right? The third thing they do when it comes to marketing is they hand me a list every day of whom I'm supposed to call. On Mondays, they hand me the realtors I'm supposed to call. On Tuesday, they hand me a report with my deals in escrow with both agents' phone numbers and the borrower's phone numbers for me to call. On Wednesday, they hand me a list of my pre-approvals to call and the agents that are with them. On Thursday, they hand me 20 past clients to call. And on Friday, I just play catch up, to be honest. Whatever list I didn't finish or skipped, I'll make it up on Friday. So if I make all those calls, well, let me back up. What I found, John, is that if I don't have the list in my hand in a piece of paper, I don't make the calls. And then I have to give it back to my loan partner at the end of the day saying I did it or I didn't do it. That's how loan partner ones help you. And then slowly they learn the business. They've been with you a year and a half, 2 years. Maybe now they are helping analyze a loan. Maybe they're sitting in on loan consultations and working towards the next step in their career. But I wanted to do this call, number one, to record it because people are asking. But number two is to help you do it right in this market if you're going to choose to have a loan partner one. So questions for me, John?
Uh, no, that was pretty clear. I think that there was a lot of angles that I didn't realize we can leverage on an LP1. Like, I love creating the list for you, and I do like that process. I don't have any questions. I think it's pretty clear.
What's one thing that you were doing that now you know not to do it? Like, what's one or two things you got out of this little session?
I need to do a follow-up call at the end of the day with all the new prospects that we have, and then also follow up with the agent to put my arm around him. I was doing the agent side of it, but it does matter to make that extra call at the end of the day to help that relationship continue.
Yeah, it takes like, if you get 3 leads in a day, that's 60 leads a month. So if I got 3 leads a day on average, 60 leads a month, I'd probably close 10 or 12 deals. And in this market, maybe 8 or 10. So I get a text at 4 o'clock with on average 3 leads. I got to call 6 people. That's going to take, if it was 5 minutes per call, which it's not, it's
Right.
less. If it was 5 minutes per call, that's 30 minutes. If your drive home is 10 minutes, you could probably call all of them on your drive home. It's not a lot of extra work. But I'm just telling you guys, have you ever been handed off or passed off as a client before, John? Can you think of a time? Like, think of one where you felt passed off by someone in as a consumer.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you mine. So I had this guy that was chasing me for like my savings, like I'm with Morgan Stanley, and he wants me to move to I don't know, some other, like Charles Schwab.
Yeah.
And so then I made a move, right? And I moved my money over. And then in the beginning, he was talking to me like once a month. And then pretty soon I would call him and he would have his assistant call me back. And then one day I had a meeting scheduled in my Zoom and he couldn't make it. And so his assistant was on and I felt passed off. So then what did I do? I moved my money. So you can delegate some things, but you can't delegate everything. And I think what happened to you and what's happened to others is when there were so many loans that we delegated too much stuff, and we just can't do that. Can't make clients feel passed off. Awesome. All right, John, thanks for jumping on here with me.